Foundations for Understanding Movement. In this presentation, we're going to discuss various terms and concepts that are really important for understanding both static positions and how to describe them, but also how to describe dynamic motion. In this presentation, I really want to go over the basic terms, directional terms, planes of the body, some of those concepts that are really vital to understanding how to describe human movement and determine position of the body in respect to other parts of the body. But I want to start by talking about why I think this is important. Understanding these terms and utilizing these terms, being familiar with these terms, is really important for two reasons. The first is, if you're reading articles, you're reading a textbook, you need to know these terms because they're going to use terms like anterior and posterior. They're not going to say front and back. They're going to say superior, inferior, medial, lateral. You need to know those terms like the back of your hand, where you don't have to think about what they mean. You know what they mean. Another reason, and I think a more important reason you need to know these terms and get used to using them, is it enhances the professionalism of your profession. I've spent a lot of time as an athletic trainer fighting for recognition of athletic training among other healthcare professionals, such as physical therapists, physicians, physician assistants, and so on. And using that professional terminology, sounding like you know what you're talking about, is a really important part of that. If you work in the fitness and exercise science profession, it's even more important because a lot of healthcare professionals don't see you as professionals. They see you as people that work at the local gym that don't necessarily know a lot beyond how to design some exercise programs. To show them that you know more than that, and to show them that you deserve a place in this healthcare world, you need to be professional. So when you're talking to those individuals, you need to use those types of terms: anterior, posterior, superior, etc. The kinds of concepts that we're going to be discussing in this presentation. I think it's really important. We also, though, I will say, as an athletic trainer, I work with athletes. When I talk to them, I have to use different terminology, and you need to do the same. So we have to be able to switch from this more professional type of terminology to the kind of the layperson terminology, depending upon who we're speaking with. And this enhances our professionalism. So that's a really important reason why I think we all be familiar with the terms that we're going to be covering in this presentation. So let's get started and start taking a look at some terms. One of the big reasons that we want to use appropriate terms and terminology is it decreases confusion. And often, I see this commonly when talking to other people or even reading assignments and grading papers. You use a term like arm or leg. The term leg to some people means the entire extremity. To others, the term leg actually means the lower leg. It means the shank. So we really have to be careful how we use terms. And the first group of terms that I want to take a look at are kind of these regional terms or these areas of the body. Now this slide's pretty busy. The picture's pretty busy. You're free to pause and take a look at some of these terms. But first off, let's talk about the general regions of the body. The axial region of the body includes the head, the neck, and the trunk. So it's the central portion of the region of the body. And the appendicular region, or the appendages, are the arms and the legs, right? And often people will refer to the whole arm as the upper extremity, and then the leg as the lower extremity. And we do have to be careful with the terms arm and leg because a lot of people would refer to the arm as maybe the upper arm, the lower arm, the whole arm. We do need to be careful. Some of the terms on here that I think are important are going to be related to these segments of the different limbs. So when we look at some of the regions of the human body that are on this image that I think are important, obviously the cranium is the skull. The axilla is a term that's used frequently. That's for the armpit. The brachium is the term for the upper arm. The antebrachium is the term for the forearm. Now, a lot of times people will use brachium and then forearm, so they mix them. But those are good terms to use as opposed to just the arm because people won't know what you're referring to. The carpus is often used for the wrist. The crus or crux is often the lower leg. Sometimes you'll see even the lower leg referred to as the shank. And the calf itself is often called the sura. So we have to be careful in terms of some of these terms that we use. And there are others on this slide that you may want to take a look at and be familiar with. Knowing and utilizing these terms will certainly go a long way to enhancing your professionalism.